This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Welcome back. Here's the second Sugya that I want to discuss. I prepared Sugya 1 and 3. Sugya 2 caught my eye right before the Shiur, and I could not resist. This seemed too interesting to resist. Let us take a look at another Tosafot over here. Tosafot Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, Roiv Hayoldos L'Tes. The Tosafot on top of the Tosafot we just did. Where Roiv women give birth after 9 months. Now, on the other hand, most women who give birth after 9 months, their pregnancy is recognizable after 3 months. Marv Rabbi say, what is the halacha? If somebody wants to marry an alman or a grusha, how many months do you need to wait? You with me? 3 months. You're all muted. I don't see you. Are you there? Okay. Why does 3 months help? Why do you wait 3 months? Anybody know? Why do you wait 3 months?
Okay, she'll be pregnant. That's when you can tell if she's pregnant or not.
Right. What do you mean? Some women, they're not recognizable after 3 months.
But that's not the majority.
Right. So you can rely on the Roiv. Majority of women are recognizable after 3 months. Tosafot has an unbelievable kasha. Tosafot's kasha is Vim Toimer Ma Moyol Hamtanaz Gimel Chadashim Misham Havchana. One of the reasons you wait 3 months, you need to know who the father is. Right? Akati Yachal Lavoi Lidei Safek. Imtinasim Miyad V'Tele Levav Chadashim Yoyim Echad. Ayafilu Gimel Yamim. Diyesh lehistapek imhu benoy shel rishain, v'loy niklan azera ad yoim gimel oyhu benoy shel sheni, diyoyledes l'shiva yoyledes l'mekutam. Question is like this. We know you only have to wait 3 months, and we're going to see, when we say 3 months, we mean 3 months and not 3 months and 3 days. How does it help to wait 3 months? Isn't it possible the woman might, let's say you wait 3 months, and then you live with her. It could be she'll give birth after 6 months and 1 day, or even 3 days. Meaning, isn't it possible, Tosafot says, the deceased lived with her. Let's go through the scenario. How does 3 months help? If you wait 2 months, and the child is born 7 months later, it could be 7 months from the second one. It could be 9 months from the first one. But if you wait 3 months, it's not going to be. If you wait 3 months and the child is born 6 months later, it's for sure from the first one. Right? I'm sorry. Right? If you wait 3 months and the child is born 6 months later, it's for sure from the first one. And if the child is born 7 months later, it's for sure from the second one. So you know who the father is. But Tosafot says, what about the possibility that you wait 3 months and the child is born 6 months later, and now we say it's for sure from the first one? Right? Is that what we're going to say? If you wait 3 months and the child is born 6 months later, it's for sure from the first one. If the child is born 6 months and 3 days later, then who is the child from? First one? What does 3 months do? Who understands this? What does 3 months do? Tosafot is asking that it is possible that if you wait 3 months, maybe the deceased lived with this woman, and then he died, and the conception did not happen until 3 days later. I mean, we say wait 3 months because we want to know who the father is, either the first one or the second one. No, it's not enough to wait 3 months. You should have to wait 3 months and 3 days. Because it's possible to live with a woman, the guy dies, and then the child is conceived 3 days later. So you think the father is the second one. No, the father is the first one. In other words, you waited 3...
You want to have 3 days to the count.
Yeah, you should have to wait 3 days to the count. And Tosafot says, when Chazal say to wait 3 days, they don't mean 3 days and they don't mean 3 months and 3 days. They mean 3 months. But how does 3 months do the job? How does 3 months do the job? Presumably, right? What's the issue? What do you worry about? We don't know. Is it 9 months to the first guy, or is it 7 months? If you only wait 2 months and a child is born, we don't know. Is it 7 months from the second husband, or is it 9 months from the first husband? But if you wait 3 months, so if the child is born 6 months later, it's from the first one. If it's born 7 months later, it's from the second one. Right? That's the purpose of waiting 3 months. If you wait 2 months, you have no idea who the father is. If you wait 3 months, then you know exactly who the father is. Why is that? How does it help to wait 3 months? Because if the child is born 6 months later, it's the first guy. You can't give birth to a child after 6 months. Can you? And how does through?
Don't you end up with 2 Rais? Rais that are born test, and the second one is Rais women. The hecker after 3 months.
Well, a hecker after 3 months is working against that Rav. It's because in this case it's not recognizable. Are the 2 Ravs together, or the 2 Ravs are against each other? 2 Ravs are against each other. So Tosafot wants to know again. Ma moyel hamtanas gimel chadashim mishum havchana akati yanchal lavo lidei safek. You could still come to a suffix im tinase miyad if you get married immediately after 3 months. V'tele levav chadashim yom echad, and you give birth after 6 months and 1 day. So you don't know who the father is. Afilu gimel yamim, or you give birth after 6 months and 3 days. We don't know who the father is. Because maybe the child did not conceive until the 3rd day. So Tosafot brings up a very interesting possibility. That it is possible for a man to die and still father a child. You hear this? It's possible for a man to live with a woman, drop dead, and father a child. So the Noda Yehuda, by the way, there's what to think about in the way Tosafot asked the question, but I want you to see this Noda Yehuda. Amazing Noda Yehuda. Tosafot daf lamed zayin amanav deber master roy vayodas hikshavim timer ma moyel avchanas gimel chadashim mishum avchana kada yachal lavay lidei safek im tinasim miyad v'tel shish chadashim yom echad efil gimel yom diyish estapek imu no shishim like nazad yom gimel ayu b'nai shoshin yolas. And what's Tosafot's answer? Tosafot says no. You're not going to have such a delay in recognizing the uber of the Rishon until 1/3 of the days from the Sheni. Okay? That requires analysis. Look at the Noda Yehuda. V'nei bi'aldusi shamati me himanos Rav Amar Agadol Hayashis Avbezin the Kal Kadosh Tratkov. The Tenach Teretz HaTosafos Inyan Tinase. I understand regarding getting married. So that's why 3 months help. Aval heich misyabemes achar gimel chadashim miyom hamisa. How could you be miyabem 3 months after the misa? V'dilma loy niklat azara ad yom gimel. Maybe the zera was not conceived until the third day. V'adayin lo shomu gimel chadashim shleimim mizmani bura v'lo hukar ubra. Ve'ich poigea b'safek eish shasach d'shema mi'abrahi. V'hoya lo lahamtin tzadi gimel yom. In other words, Tosafot wants to know that you should have to wait more than 3 months of havchana, because otherwise you can't determine who the child belongs to. Fine. So Tosafot says, you'll be able to determine who the child belongs to. Why? Through whether it's hukar ubara or loy hukar ubara. But how does it help legabe yibam? How could you be miyabim a woman after 3 months, right? In order to be miyabim a woman, you gotta wait 3 months, because maybe she's pregnant. But how does it help to wait 3 months? You should have to wait 93 days, because maybe she didn't conceive until day 3. And it's not going to be recognizable for another 3 days. That's the kasha of Noda B'Yehuda. That Tosafot has a good answer in the world of havchana, but how is his answer going to work in the world of yibum? Don't you have to wait 93 days? In other words, it's not going to be recognizable until the 93rd day. V'kasha zu chamura ma'od. This is a very difficult question. V'amarti b'libi, and I said in my heart, Hein emes shebetoira ksiv umeis echad mehem ubein ein loy. True, the Torah says, one of them dies, and he doesn't have a son. Mikol makom v'niach ishta mu'beres mikri yesh loy. If you leave your wife pregnant, it's called he has a son, even though the kid isn't born. We know that there's a concept in Rabbi Yochanan, forget Rabbi Yochanan, according to everyone, that if you leave a wife mu'uberes, it's called yesh lo ben. But if at the time that you died, lo hoisa afilu mu'uberes, if at the time you died the woman is not pregnant yet, let's say there was a prophet around at the time, and the prophet would say, she's not pregnant, right? Well, if you went to Yeshaya Hanavi, and the woman said, my husband died last night, I wanted to know if I'm pregnant, and it's loy niklat hazara, the zara did not fertilize yet. So then the Navi would say, hey, lady, you're not pregnant. Yeah, but she's going to become pregnant in 2 days. It doesn't matter. Right now, she's not pregnant. So, Eitzel the Navi, he would say in a Muveres. So, Hoysa muteres b'oisa shali yabim. She could do yibam them. V'lo hava amrina oisa. V'lo asrina oisa. We wouldn't ask her mitam heroya and shetakabel achakach, because she'll conceive later. If not for the Isser of the Rabbanon that they say you can't get married within 3 months. Kain ani oimer. Isha shaloi kol tahazara koida misas bala. A woman who her egg was not fertilized before her husband died, avsha kol ta'achar moisa, even though it was fertilized after his death, ubenoihu l'chol davar, and it's his kid for all matters, mikol makam le'inyan yibam, kvar karinon bei, ubei ein loy b'shas misa, ubas yibami. You could do yibam to her. So you could do yibam after 3 months, miman of shach. V'imkein shapra yivamim misyabem misachar misas baila gimel chadashim, miman of shach. If the zera was niklat before he died, then we would recognize the uber. Meaning after 3 months he could do yibam miman of shach. We say like this: if the zera was niklat before, then you would recognize the uber, and I don't recognize the uber. And if it was not niklat koydem moisai, even though it was niklat achar moisai, shaper misyabemes, you could do yibam. Rabbi, I have a question. Let's say a guy is miyabim a woman. Let's say a guy married a woman. Let's say a guy married Eish Shasach and she was pregnant. And he knew she was pregnant. He says, I don't care, I'm doing yibam. We said, what do you mean she's pregnant? and the kid is born, and the kid is a Vlad ben Kayama. What do we do to the guy? We kill the guy. The guy should say, "What are you killing me?" Maybe loy niklat hazera until after the Yavam died. So it does its bein ein loy. So the Noda B'Yehuda says, interesting idea. If a child is born after 9 months, I would say even if he was born before 9 months, but he's born after 9 months, meaning, why don't, if a Yevama is pregnant, she should be required to do chalitza, because maybe niklat hazer la'achar moisai, v'lo yiftar as imay me chalitza. Elo d'lo shchiach she'yishamish b'yoy moisai. Most people don't have tashmish and then drop dead. It's not very likely. Probably they lived here before, but if somebody had relations 28th of Iyar, probably we should say the conception was close to the birth. The only thing is, says in Noda B'Yehuda, I never heard such a thing. No Paisik ever said that even though there's a kid, you have to do chalitza because maybe the kid was conceived after the guy was born. By the way, this is a tremendous chiddush that Noda B'Yehuda is saying that if a yavam produced a child, but he was already dead when the child was conceived, that we would say that it doesn't pater her from a chalitza. V'chein ani omer b'shvil she'anu medamim nasa ma'isa lahamtzi chumra chadasha. Says the Noda B'Yehuda, just because I thought of an Einfall over here, I'm not going to paskin based on it, just to answer Tosafot's kasha. In other words, Noda B'Yehuda was sort of forced to say this because he has a kasha. His kasha is, how could you be miyavim a woman after 3 months, but maybe, very nice, she'll have a child, and then you'll say it came from the second guy. How do you know? Maybe it came from the first guy, and it was like niklat hazer right away. Even though now Tosafot's question stands like, well, kol kusha yesh la teretz. Every question has an answer, and maybe b'chlal it's very unlikely loy niklat hazera, roiv hazer niklat b'shas ikar tashmish, and maybe we're not choishish for this. Soif davar hoisha azois mutaras b'li chalitza afilu kuna ve'in lachish klal. So basically, you hear Rabbi Kiveg, the Noda B'Yehuda's amazing chiddush. Noda B'Yehuda wants to be mechadesh that if a man had relations and he died, and the egg is fertilized after his death, she is zakok l'yibum, and it is called bein ein loy. Why? Because if she would go to a navi, the navi would say she's not pregnant. It's hurt. What?
Mehila, if you remember the case I brought a few months ago or weeks ago about the woman that her husband had passed away and that she had a sperm bank, and then she died in vitro fertilization, whatever you want to call it, after the man was dead. So this could be a potential answer. How this all plays out. What happens if she didn't have any children from her first husband?
Right.
And she got inseminated.
From what? From the husband's first zera?
Right. If she had done Yibum, how did that come into play?
Yeah. See, that's slightly different because it's not through a regular act of relation. So, to what extent? Well, that might make a difference. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to show you one thing over here. I want to show you. Okay, I want to see who's this. I made a copy of one more thing. I thought this was the Noda B'Yehuda. Give me one more second. It's not the Noda B'Yehuda? Oh. Reb Shimon Shkop, look at this. Reb Shimon Shkop, Chiddush Reb Shimon Yehuda HaKoyin. He says, Tosafot says, maybe it's B'nai Shorishon v'lei Niklat Hazar Yud Yom Gimel. So Tosafot has a very good question, but there's a stronger question. Why doesn't Tosafot ask that how could Yevamos do Yibam after 3 months? Maybe it's the Vlad. Maybe she'll still give birth, and it'll be Eshesach B'Kares, and because Lo Niklat Hazara. So the Noda B'Yehuda says, asks this question. He wants to mechadesh that if somebody dies before Klitas Hazara, even though it's Benoi, it's the first guy's son, it doesn't pater from Chalitza. It's considered Bein Ein Loi. V'hinei davar zar v'rachik ma'ai. This is a very strange idea, Rav Shimon Shkop says. So I just want to share with you the Kli Chemda. Maybe the third sugya, maybe we'll take a look at tomorrow night. The third sugya is on Kamdina. We have to see that, but we'll see. Let's do this first. Nira loimer lepopula lekayim divrei chachamim shelo yu divrei nadav tmum kol kach. If this zera was loy huklat, the begavna da adayin loy niklat as b'shas misasoi. Imkein harehu meis beloy kiyam mitzvahs peri v'rivya. Kiven delo haya av b'shas hayitzira. V'shuv yesh makal mitzvahs yibam. It is his father. But he's not Mekayim in the mitzvah puravu because he was not the father at the time of the Yitzira. And there is still Makayim in the mitzvah yibam. Now, l'chayr, this is also a very difficult thing to say because my Rabbi say, when are you Mekayim the mitzvah of puravu? If you remember, we sort of did that sugya. According to Rav Moshe and according to the Shagas Aryeh, the mitzvah puravu as the time of bia, not at the time of Yitzira. It's not biyada ha'adam, whether there will be a Yitzira or there won't be a Yitzira. The mitzvah puravu is at the time of the bia itself, but the Kli Chemda seems to be saying that it's the mitzvah puravu is fulfilled at the time of Yitzira. So he wants to say that since the mitzvah puravu was not performed when the man did yibum because lo niklat hazara until 3 days later, therefore it's not considered a mitzvah of yibum. And then he says, in such a situation, this son does not have to mechabed the father achar moisai, and if he would curse him, he wouldn't be chayiv misa because he's not aviv. V'im kein be'emes hu ein hu b'nai l'chol davar. Okay, so this is sort of the amazing chiddush of the Noda B'Yehuda that im loy niklat hazara mechayim, it would not necessarily im loy niklat hazara mechayim, it would not exempt you from the mitzvah of yibam, which is a pretty remarkable chiddush. Okay, Rabbi Sai, do you want to do one more or we'll do it tomorrow night? Okay, we'll do it tomorrow night. Okay, we'll hold it over here. I'll give you a little preview. We're gonna talk about the lamdas of Kamdina. In other words, why can we not revisit a court case that was already decided? It was already decided, but now there are new factors. Well, what is the imperative that the case has to be remained closed? Okay, Rabbi Sai, have a great day. Bracha v'atzlacha. See you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.